Three-point shooting team the previous two games. Embiid, nice defense there on McDaniels, who's looking for a call. Good luck. Simmons tracking it down and somehow providing a finish. Come good soon enough, and sure enough, he did. Big hit take off. It's behind the back to Embiid. Joel getting his first bucket of the game. Embiid has already missed a couple of threes. There's Green in for a three. Got it. So Danny Green hits the
Welcome in, everybody, to Heat Ratio Sports Half Court Heat Episode 3. It's been a couple weeks, but we are back. A little NBA talk with a Sixer state of mind. I'm your host, Tony Gatto, joined as always by Mr. Andre Johnson and Mr. Al Griffin, and we are talking Joel Embiid right off the bat. Boys, it's been a couple weeks since we've been together, but we got to roll right into this. You've seen them in the highlights. We'll get to Tobias in a little bit, but Joel Embiid, let's just start off right off the bat. Joel Embiid making his state case early for NBA MVP, playing at another level. I don't know where it's coming from. We could talk, speculation. Maybe as a new father. Maybe he's finally matured a little bit. Maybe he stopped hitting Chick-fil-A. I don't know what's going on. But at the end of the day, when you watch this guy, man, I'll tell you what. It's scary because he sure seems like nobody can stop him. A little disappointing he's not going to play tonight against Indiana. We talked about it off air. Would have loved to see him against a big guy in Sabonis. We'll get into why that may, came into the decision-making here. But, Andre, Joel Embiid, are you surprised? And what do you think the difference is this year?
Well, first, shout out to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That was a great plug right there.
Yeah, you like
and
that.
Shout out to Chick-fil-A for not being open.
Love the Nuggets.
Yeah, they're not open today, but we can watch our Sixers. Hey, Joel, not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. And I think the biggest change with this guy is that after the last couple of days, he looked committed. Like he really looks committed to play. And if you dive into like his stats and all that good stuff, man, this guy is averaging 28 points a game with out of all the centers in the league, like the top 5 centers in the league, 5 to 10 centers, he's only playing 31 minutes. So his efficiency is through the roof. He's at the top 10 in rebounding. He's averaging 28 points a game. He's trying to clip that 30-point, obviously. He's had monster games in his last 5 games just been monster. Now, he's only played 16 games this year, right? He's only played 16. But the ones he played in it's just a world of difference when he's not in the game and when he's in the game. So we got to figure that part out. And I think we will when we get tested by teams like Brooklyn, Indiana. We were tested clearly by the Lakers, pulled that out in the end. But Joel's it's a big difference. I just think his coaching, I think it all boils down to coaching. I think his conditioning could be a little better because obviously we all want him to have that Giannis shape frame. But even Dwight Howard is in crazy condition. I know we're not talking about him right now, but the reality of it is he's pushing. He has to be in practice pushing Joel every time they're in practice, And I saw on Twitter that somebody shouted Dwight Howard out saying, I believe one of the owners said, hey, listen, shout out to Dwight Howard for pushing Joel in practice harder and harder so he can be improved. This guy, to me, is the MVP of the league right now. He's playing at a high level. But more importantly, I saw that commitment in him during that Lakers game. They had no answer for him.
None. Zero. And Al, it's a great point because Dwight Howard's been on record multiple times saying this guy could be the best player, best big man ever in the game if he puts his mind to it. And, this is kind of, it sounds crazy. I don't want to bring up his name, but it's kind of what we wanted from Al Horford. We expected Al Horford to be the big brother, to come in here and be the guy to mentor Joel. Never happened. And now we get it in Dwight Howard. What better than a guy with a ring, right? Guy with a ring.
Dwight Howard could get somebody in the right state of mind to be one. But that's, crazy. I think when you just said was right on it's here. What he wanted, because he always had the skill.
Yep.
He always had the jump shot. Nobody could stop him down low. When somebody would say something like ridiculous, like Marcus Gasol could stop JoJo, I said, please stop. Nobody can stop JoJo but JoJo. And it's here first, and then it's on the court. If you have that in your mind that nobody can stop you, whether you go inside, outside, three, whatever you want to do, that is the mindset that you're going to have. And then going forward off of that, it's easy after that once it's up here because you're just going to coast. And that's what he has this year. I mean, he just coming on the court, all right, if I get this person on, I'm getting that low, and you're going to have to foul me. But I think he had, 17 free throws against Minnesota, something like that? Something crazy. I'm like, that's all they're going to do, foul you or you're going to score. And if you got that mentality, who's going to start? I don't care. It's Boston, L.A., Chicago. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who they try to put on. Nobody can stop him down low when he – and actually, I think still with him having a ridiculous season, I still every once in a while get to the all right, go stop with the jump shots and go down a little bit more. So I still thinking in my mind, all right, that's enough jump shots and go down low. But he knows it, and he adjusts accordingly, or either it's a coach and then Doc's all right, enough with the jump shots, and he'll go down low and get a foul or something like that. I think that's a part of the reason, even when he was sore the other night, I think if he would have just posted up a little bit more and because he was sore after he fell, he started taking more jump shots at the end of the game, which made them have. If he would have maybe just went in the post a couple of times, it would have stopped the run because again, they wouldn't have stopped him. They just would have fouled him, and he would have just got to the free throw line, which would have been a lot easier to score. So, those are the things that we need to learn as we go along here to get better and better. And stop it. He's just been an absolute monster.
He's been up. If you look at everything, and I understand it's early, but he's been up in every single category. And that's what's crazy. I mean, from everything, his field goal percentage is up. The highest in his career. I understand it's only 16 games, but he's averaging 32 minutes a game. He's shooting 55% from the field. I mean, it's just unheard of. And a lot of that comes from what Al's saying, even though it's the more of, he's playing more down in the box. He's getting to the rim a lot more. He's not taking those periodical threes as much. The top of the rainbow jumpers. We want to, I love watching the big guy fall back a little bit, but I'm getting greedy now, right? I'm getting greedy. I want more down low, man, because he's become such a force. And we can't go on without mentioning the amazing free throw percentage. Guys shoot 85%. When have you ever seen a big guy take a technical foul? Right? I mean, it's unbelievable that this guy is that good. It really is. It's unbelievable. Dan brings up the Joker can play well out of shape, not JoJo. Jokers are not. Listen, he was the moniker for a while. It was like, man, I wish he was more like Jokic. I wish he was more like the Joker. I don't know, man. Joel's coming with a different frame of mind, and a different mentality. And I don't think anybody can hold a candle to him right now, Andre.
No, I think Dan makes a good point. But as far as center efficiency, Joker is right up there. He's probably ranked number 2. But Joel is hands down number 1. Hands down. And I think, tell you, it's funny because you mentioned you don't want to see him taking the lazy jump shots or the fadeaways or things. Because sometimes Joel can think he a guard sometimes, right? For some of the moves. But here's the difference, right? But here's the difference. Well, he knows they're going to come down on his arm when he does that. So if he doesn't get tagged for that, right? If the refs aren't like, hey, we first of all, we're not going to talk about the refs. We know they've been, in my opinion, a little weird all year. We're not going to talk about them. But talking about Joel Embiid, I think, Tony, you mentioned something that I think is weird from last year to this year. Last year, we couldn't stand when he was missing those weird shots. But the difference is this year he's actually making those weird shots, so we're not as hard as we're supposed to be on him because he's making those fadeaways. He's making the and ones. He's doing all this stuff on the floor, right? When he goes like this. So it's more entertaining, and in a weird space that we're in with COVID and everything else, we actually need that. This guy is single-handedly bringing the popularity of the big man back. Dan says the Joker. Yeah, I get it. The Joker is, I think he's playing great this year. But Joel is literally making that separation like big time, and he's doing it every game. The separation is clear that this guy is the best big man in the league.
And actually, Joker had a monster game today. I was just watching them against Utah. They beat Utah. I think he dropped like 45. So he had a good game. He's a very consistent guy. He's going to score. He's not going to have too many 45 games, but he had it today against Utah. So, but I've argued a lot of people on Twitter. Oh, he's the best center in the basketball. Stop it. JoJo is the best center in basketball. And previous years, the only reason Joker's made first team all offensive is because of JoJo being hurt all the time. And he hasn't qualified for the game. So people are disqualifying him just because he's been hurt every year. But it's just like a no-brainer this year. Stop it. You hear everybody saying it. Everybody's on Twitter saying the same exact thing. JoJo is the best center in the league and currently leading the MVP race.
100%. 100%. No doubt. I completely agree. And one thing is, it's keeping the Sixers on top of the NFC. I almost said NFC East, on top of the Eastern Conference. Eagles a different show on another time. But listen, it looks like a different team, man. I know they do some things. I know I've been getting. I mean, you talk about Twitter, and you get on Twitter, and it makes you go crazy sometimes. And especially when you bring up the Ben Simmons talk and the Joel Embiid talk. But I'll tell you what, it's really turned a corner. But one thing's for certain. With the extra shooters and the more spacing on the floor, this team has definitely turned over that hump that we're waiting them to get past. Now, I still don't believe that they're in that top three, echelon because, unfortunately, in the playoffs, we talked about this. They're going to stop Embiid. Right? Or they're going to try to stop Embiid, and they're going to formulate a plan. And then for some reason, when we don't run the offense through Joel, we still look lost. Now, it's a bias. Had a really nice closing ending the other night, right? I mean, it brings back some Jimmy Butler memories of all the closing shots he hit for us a few years ago. And it finally was nice to see Tobias do that, right? A lot of people, it's a different Tobias. It's the Clippers Tobias. The one thing, though, and we've talked about this on the show, to talk about Tobias a little bit, first time getting the All-Star nod, which much respect, much deserved. He's playing with a different focus this year, a different aggression. Listen, one thing I've always said, I was so hard on Tobias because I thought he played soft. He did. And I think we all understood. Last year he played soft. This year he is playing with so much authority. He's never done that in the last few years. And that's what we needed. And you could tell that last shot just gave him even more confidence. Right? Even more confidence. Oh, yeah. Right, so he's been a difference maker. Now let's talk real quick. Andre, I want to ask you about Tyrese Maxey because I feel like, and we all see it, right? We got really excited over this kid, because he played so well, and he's still. Listen, this kid has tons of talent. The little teardropper that he can hit, it's ridiculous. But he's kind of hit a rookie wall a little bit. Now we see Matisse playing a little more minutes. He's clocking more minutes. Maxey's kind of like the last guy maybe coming off onto the court unless somebody gets in foul trouble. But do you think he's kind of hit that rookie wall a little bit? And, and what's been his limitations over like the past 4 or 5 games in your mind?
I believe it's two things. I believe it's the rotation, right? It's definitely the rotation because you mentioned Matisse,
Yep.
right? Matisse, while Maxey may have hit that rookie wall, Matisse have actually leveled up his game just a little bit more because he went back to doing what he's known to do, play defense, right? But in the beginning of the year, we were so excited about Maxey because Maxey was in situations where we were playing teams, and even Joel Embiid said it. We were playing teams that we know we can beat easily, right? In the beginning of the year. But when we start playing those teams like the Lakers, like the Celtics, like all these other, contenders in a way, Maxey is not as efficient, right? Because now it's about coaching. It's about winning the game. It's
Right.
about winning the game. So at the beginning of the year, we were racking up those wins, and you could see Maxey and Isaiah. Well, we don't know where Isaiah Joe been, but we need to get him back on the court in that rotation between Maxey and Matisse, right? But again, with Curry starting, and I haven't wavered from this from the beginning of the season. Remember from our first show, I said Curry starting is a big difference because now we have that perimeter threat. Maxey is starting to be known as a driver, and as a rookie, it's easy for opposing teams to make adjustments quickly. So I wouldn't quite say he hit the rookie wall yet, right? Because I think now we'll see who he really is when we start playing teams that are contenders. That's when we really would see Maxey. In the beginning, we were excited because we were
Yeah.
playing teams where he really did. It was the opposing guards were just as good as he was, or not as good as he was. So it was like 1-on-1. But now I think Maxey is still that beast. They picked the right guy. I hope he stays. Obviously, the trade deadline ain't here yet, but I hope he stays. But I still think Maxey is that guy that the rest of the league don't know about too much. So that's why I like him here. So when he's on the court and he makes that floater or he goes to the hole and get an and one, he has to keep his head in the game back on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And that happens to a lot of rookies. That the moment kind of overshadows them a little bit. But I think the biggest thing, Al, that I like about him, even if he didn't hit the rookie wall, so to speak, he's constantly aggressive. He doesn't let up.
He doesn't change his
drive. Right, he'll drive against anybody. It doesn't matter. He's always hitting the hole, and it's something that it's really nice to see. It really is.
Yeah, I like his motor. He stays aggressive at all times. So I like that. It doesn't matter if you even like in the beginning of the season when you seen him come in and he would miss like 2-3 shots, you'd be like, this kid doesn't care. He'll still go right to the hoop and shoot another jump shot. And he has improved since then. So now that I think the only difference between now and then, even in the middle of what we had, 20-some games, even in the middle of that where he was playing very well, I probably would say the difference is I think Doc has changed to more of a defensive mode and having more veterans in the game. He sees the difference of having a veteran in as opposed to a rookie at certain times. And I think he's trying to see if he can count on court, if he can count on the rotation that he will prefer to use, and then adjust accordingly afterwards. So if he has to put Matisse in, he already knows what he has from him, so he can put him in any slot he needs to put him into. But I think he would rather have Cork, Scott, and Matisse, that core of rotation coming off the bench. And then if he has to adjust with Maxey coming off, doing a little this, doing a little bit of that, he can, and he have no problem with it because he knows he can adjust to any situation. So I don't know. I can't call it one way or another when it's a rookie wall, but I know everybody has noticed his players fell off and his minutes has dropped as well. But I think it's because Court came back, and I think he's just trying to find that current rotation. That all right, boom, you're coming in at this time, and may adjust a little bit from here, a little bit from there. Scott, when is he coming back? He's been out for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, man, he got off the bench a couple nights ago. He wanted to come back already in a different way, right? But like we only love.
What's going on there with Scott? Like they might be shelfing him for something and get ready to come down the line, which I wouldn't mind. Which we need to talk about too. A little additions in there. If we don't make anything major, I have somebody that will work pretty well coming off the bench as a little added addition. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, definitely. Get to some comments real fast. I get everybody, a ton of people checking in. Jamar checking in said Embiid is definitely the MVP, period. Tobias playing like Clippers Tobias. Doc is confidence at an all-time high. He's feeling positive. Molly says it's the version we've waited so patiently for. I completely agree. She also says it's all going to come down to the mental part with Embiid's success. Slight noise from Shaq, but it's been pointing out that he's tough on him because he sees the potential inside Embiid. I agree. That's from Dan checking in, says no noise from Shaq this year. Just on Donovan Mitchell. We're going to get a little bit of that later. But this will be interesting. Jamar wants to know, can someone explain to me why Ben Simmons gets crapped on? I need Simmons to get respect. Curry will settle in soon. I don't want to get long-winded on this. I'm really not, because I had a couple guys. Listen, we talked about this earlier. I'll talk about this again. I don't want Russell Westbrook. Okay, I want to win a championship. So at the end of the day, I'm not crapping on Ben Simmons. I respect the hell out of Ben Simmons as a basketball player. All I'm saying is when people get excited because he has 10 points and he has 10 rebounds and 10 assists, and we're still 0-4 when Joel Embiid doesn't play, okay, then I have a problem because Ben doesn't step up because he's limited. Ben is limited. That's my issue. Now, I'll continue to say that. That's it. I don't think he gets crapped on as much as you think. I think it's kind of overrated. I think people just want more from Ben. And it's okay to want more from your superstar. You want more from your number 2 player. That's okay to want more. And we deserve more. Right? The team deserves more. If they are going to go to the pinnacle of success, they need Ben to do more than hit a triple-double every game and only score 10 points. I'm sorry. They need more than that. I think we all know that. Jamar, that's my point on that. And last, I would say, this is a good one. We'll touch on this, guys. This is a good conversation point. Anzo Texan says they need to learn how to win with Embiid. We all agree. And Jason says Bill Simmons was discussing the Sixers playoff run. If they do end up in the finals, the Lakers don't match up with the Sixers. Ben is the most equipped to match up with Bron. Andre,
yes.
I'll let you comment right on that. What do you think?
First of all, I saw what Bill Simmons said, right? And I agree with him. But here's where I think Bill's a little wrong. No one's equipped to deal with problems.
Exactly.
No one. I don't care. Not KD, not the Pope, not anybody. Okay. No, Brian is Brian. Like so.
Right.
Right. What now? I'm hoping he was suggesting. Well, he said what he said. But the way I took it, I was like, when I read it, I said, okay, I hear what you're saying, Bill. However, the best way to deal with Bron is the same way we dealt with him the other day, is to run the rotation over to him. Be careful. First of all, he's an incredible passer out of the double team, so you got to be careful double teaming him with smaller guys.
Right.
So if he's saying that Ben, being 6'10", can crowd him a little bit and give him that some issues or some problems, you know what they say about great players? You only hope to contain them. You cannot stop them. You only hope to contain them. But they did an excellent job the other day containing him.
Thank you.
And that was based on, once again, the rotation of Thybulle coming in playing defense. Because a couple times Thybulle was on Brian. When Ben rolled off of Brian, Thybulle was on him because Ben was switching on Gasol.
Right. And even on Anthony Davis a couple times.
Yeah. He was, but I think the way Embiid was handling Anthony Davis, man. Anthony Davis, he didn't look like an Anthony Davis to me. Embiid was doing whatever he wanted to do with Anthony Davis. Yeah. But he's starting to do that with everybody. So listen, that Ben Simmons situation, I can care about the triple-double. I can care less about the triple-doubles. What I like to see is his efficiency when he's on the court with Embiid. The problem I'm having is that he's not as efficient, and the Sixers still look lost when Embiid's not playing. And to me, that goes back to what's your identity without Embiid? If they can fix that problem, they will be a problem to deal with in the league. Period.
I agree completely. Al, this is going to go right to you. We're going to switch a little direction here and talk about. You mentioned additions, you teased a little bit. Dan checking in, talking about JJ Redick rumors. Why, yay or nay? Let's just here's what I'll just say. We'll play this game like this: Danny Green or JJ Redick. Who would you rather have on the team? Because essentially, if we do end up with a guy like JJ Redick, or even if we, decide to strengthen the bench more, an expiring contract of Danny Green is very, very attractive around the NBA. So I feel like he'll be a part of something if we make a bigger move. But right now, JJ Redick, you want him back on his team? Or in my opinion, do we need more of a stretch four, so to speak? More of, you talked about Mike Scott, when is he ever coming back? But I think we need something like a Mike Scott with a better offensive game. What do you think?
I mean, I always loved JJ. I actually didn't want him to leave when he left. But, first of all, he's had a horrible first half of the season. Horrible. I don't know what's going on down in New Orleans. I looked at him the other day. He had no points. I don't even know if he played. I don't know. I looked at the box score multiple times, and 6 and 5 and 10, and I'm like, what is going on with JJ down there?
To stay Van Gundy.
Yeah. I don't know if it's him or if it's JJ or if it's just he has lost interest there. I don't know what's going on. So that's one. Two, I would keep Danny Green. A lot of people might disagree with that, but I would keep Danny Green for his experience, his shooting, his defense, everything that he brings to the table. I don't think you want to lose that. If you can get JJ for the right price, and it does not take away from anybody else, and maybe you can bring him in and off the bench, and he knows, all right, I'm only going to play a certain amount of minutes a game, and he's okay with that, and you don't have to give up maybe just 2 or anything. I don't know, something, or figure out something on the bench, and you give away some garbage on your bench and bring him in, maybe. Jeez. My pick is from the Detroit Pistons.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Ellington. He's shooting 50% from the field and 13 points a game. He could be very nice off the bench. Cap number is only 2.5 this season, and he's on the last year of his deal. He could get out of Detroit, and you can probably give up a second for him. And you take him in, and you don't have to disturb anything with a second.
I like that.
I love a move like that. Now, would I like a small forward that could score? Yeah. I haven't really found one that'll work right now, unless we get a couple buyouts. But the Ellington is pretty nice, and we could steal him from Detroit. What do you think, Andre?
I like Ellington. It's funny, when we played him, I thought he was a flash in the pan, but then they had a game the other day, and I said, you know what? And he was still lighting that opposing team up.
I always liked him in Miami.
Yeah, and I said, this guy may be the real deal. Like, he may be the real deal. He has obviously he showed us that his 3-point range is ridiculous, and his efficiency, and he was knocking them down with ease. When they played against Miami, when I saw against Miami, I said, well, maybe he's not because sometimes you'll see guys on a national level light up another team, right? And then the very next day, some of them don't even get in the game. Yeah. And you'd be like, oh, well, this guy is putting up numbers. His efficiency is way up. He's shooting the 3 with ease and consistency. He's a stretch 4. He can pull people out. He can defend. I'm like, wow, this guy is. And I didn't know much about him. But until I start watching him really play, and then when I start looking him up, I said, you know what, this guy is a problem. He's almost like he gets overlooked. First of all, he's in Detroit, so you don't hear too much about that market unless you tapping in and you're
or your team plays them.
Right, or your team from another city or whatever plays Detroit. But when you start looking at them when you look at Ellington from a national level against all the other players that are in his position, you go, wow, this dude is definitely, in my opinion, he may be top 10, 12. So you talk about a great pickup for any team. I think teams are really looking at him like really quiet because, like I said, the trade deadline is not here yet, and there may be some more moves. But as far as JJ Redick, just to go back to that, I don't want him. I don't want him. He's a defensive. Listen, I liked him when he was here. When he was going, I did feel a little some type of way about it. But he's a defensive liability. JJ Redick or Danny Green all day.
Our buddy Dan Chuck said JJ can't defend my grandmother and she pays. Damn, Dan.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true, but you're not bringing him here for defense. You're not bringing him here for defense. Harsh. You're just bringing him off the bench for scoring. And I always like Ellington. I wanted him actually as a free agent when this past off season, but they didn't even look at him. For some reason, I have no idea. I would have grabbed him in a heartbeat for 2.5.
Yeah, but that's the problem. I like when you have a player like that in another market, and you're like a lot of GMs, as savvy as they're supposed to be, they go, "Oh, I didn't even know that guy existed."
Yeah.
It's until he gets a little the stats and he's climbing the charts as far as because trust me, those guys are behind computers and everything else as well. But you got to physically see it. You got to see what he's up against. Like what's his work ethic? Is he, after the games? Is he before the games, 3 hours before a game shooting? Like all those things they take in consideration. And a lot of these new players, a lot of the GMs and the people that are making the decisions as far as trades, they're putting the pressure on the newer guys like they would a veteran.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what is he doing? Who's leading this guy? Is his work ethic is his work ethic incredible or not? Is he lazy? So when you talk about a guy named Ellington and then you start seeing him and he hurt you when you go to play, he'll be like, oh, that guy hurt us. Now he's on your radar.
Yeah.
Now he's on the radar. But I hope he stay on the radar because he's a good player.
Yeah, he'd be a nice piece. He'd be a really nice piece. And
you know who he reminds me of?
Who's that?
Old school Sean Elliott.
Oh, from the Spurs.
Yeah. Just from tall, lanky. Yeah. A little Elliott. You got a little Sean Elliott in him from,
I like that. But you know what? Here's the thing, though. They're the kind of players that we can track.
Name out of.
Yeah, that's all. I like it. Man, those Spurs teams. That's the Admiral days, man.
Oh yeah,
that's the Admiral days. That's Bruce Bowen on that. Remember Bruce Bowen on that team too?
Yeah,
crazy. Big Shot Bob. 15. We can go way back. But that's a good thing about having the coach that we have and the players that we have because, we can attract guys like that. Our buddy Vinny checking in says PJ Tucker or Kelly Oubre are guys I'd want 3-and-D guys. I don't know if I'd want Kelly Oubre.
No,
I'm not an Oubre. I mean, PJ Tucker, he's okay.
For the right price.
Yeah, right. He gives you a little more physicality than a guy like Ellington or. Hey, listen, I'll take a couple. I'll take a couple guys. Give me Ellington and Tucker, then I'll be happy. You know what I mean?
God, imagine Ben driving to the hoop and Tucker's in that corner.
Right.
Oh my goodness!
Right. I mean,
imagine Ben driving to the hoop and actually shooting it.
See, there you go. Where's Jamar at now?
That's our issue. I do not want him passing anything. He's 6'10".
I know.
No, I'm talking about attracting the attention and passing it.
I know.
Don't go somebody.
The problem. Here's the problem with PJ Tucker, though. There's the Houston connection again. So if they don't want to do business with Mr. Morey, because of a little hard feelings there, I don't think we're getting close to Mr. Tucker. But but listen, two good names. I'm not a big Oubre guy, but I think they need more than just JJ or Ellington. They need two pieces to me because I don't think Mike Scott's the guy. I don't.
It would be beautiful.
PJ Tucker would be really nice. Let's start robbing those teams that stink. Yeah, Minnesota got anybody we could grab? I mean, think about it. All those teams that stink. Let's start robbing them.
Who would be nice? That kid that got hurt in Washington. You know, I'm talking about he tore his ACL.
Who tore his ACL in Washington?
Uh,
Bertans?
Yes. No. It's a young guy that hustles up, grabs rebounds. I mean, that would be a nice little addition off the bench. Nice little power forward. I can't remember this guy's name. He flashed on me on the 2 times that we played Washington.
I had to look. I'm not sure.
Up, man.
We'll have to, Andre will get on that. Robert Uri, first thought regarding Ellington. Listen, if Ellington, Big Shot Bob, that's a big comparison right there, buddy. No, I think we need to take a step back from that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
That's it. You know, Big Shot Bob, another class of his own, man. You know what I mean? Man, every highlight begins and ends with Big Shot Bob in the 90s. Let me tell you.
Talk about Bryant.
Who?
Yes,
Thomas Bryant.
Yes.
Yes. Another, they're the kind of guys, man. I mean, they're the kind of guys that we have to look at, I think. Because I think they would be perfect. It really would, man. But, yeah, I would like P.J. Tucker. Definitely.
We could pull that off. I would love it.
Yeah, it would be nice. That would be nice. Now, earlier somebody talked about no noise regarding Donovan Mitchell. I want to swing to a little direction here, and let's talk about, big guys being disconnected. Back in the day, guys like Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal maybe being disconnected from today's game. Taking shots at Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell this week. That's kind of what they do. It's kind of... it's Shaq's MO. It's Barkley's MO. Sometimes it gets a little old now. It's all, I get what they're trying to do, which is fine. But do you think that, I think Molly earlier said that he just feels like, when he would go against Joel, it was because he knows how good he can be. But do you really think that is what it is? Do you really? Because to me, like Andre, I really think that they're disconnected. I do. I think that they refuse to move forward in today's game. And I think that's the biggest problem. I think that's why they can't relate. And I think it's kind of like a backdoor cover when they say, "Oh, well, we really want them to be better." And I just don't think they see it. I mean, what's your deal with Donovan Mitchell? I don't understand. Like with Kevin Durant, you're going to kill Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant came back from an Achilles and he's averaging 30 a game. Yeah. I mean, like what? I'm not even a big KD guy, but what is your beef with KD? I don't get it. Andre, they just disconnected.
No, I think they are disconnected when you make comments like those type of comments. Now the disconnection is I think is how they say everything is levels to everything, right?
Yep.
So the disconnect, I just believe that the game is different. I think the game is different. The officiating is different. The toughness. What's a flagrant foul? What's not a flagrant foul? What you get into a fight, you don't even get injected back in the day, right? So they played in the era that is not ticky-tack. The ticky-tack foul, there's no such thing as a ticky-tack foul. Right. You either got elbowed in your back or you got slammed to the floor, and that may be just a common foul, right? So I think that is just the disconnect is them a little pain, and I don't want to get into psychology. This is a nice family sports show, right? So we're not getting into psychology, but the reality of it is that they played in the era that was ridiculously tough, like as far as physical, in regards to being physical on the floor. And if you weren't physical, you went home.
Yes.
If you weren't physical, you went home. You did there is no. There is no Malones and there's no like from Stockton and Malone. There is no Malones. There is no Mahorns. There is no Barkleys. There is no Shaqs. There is no Oakleys. Like I can go on and on and on about the agitators, the people that when you left the game you felt beat down. Now here's where the new players, the disconnect from the new players feel slighted because after the game they feel tired. They're like, it may not be your tired, right? They're like, how could you come at me? I'm playing 35, 36, 38, 40 minutes a game, and I'm busting my behind out here. I'm giving it all I got. My all is different from your all. Absolutely. And see, Shaq, and of course, with Shaq rings, he has a leg to stand on a little bit, right? Sure. With Barkley being a Hall of Famer, he has a leg to stand on. And they're saying, until you get to where we are, we have the right to criticize you. Right? Because no one's going to tell me how awkward that Durant and Barkley interview was. That was the most awkward thing I've ever seen with Durant giving them one-word answers and Barkley's like,
It's definitely
people on the
annoying.
set, and people on the set looking like, "What's going on here? Come on, wrap it up, wrap it up." I can hear the producer in the background right now. Like, wrap that up. This isn't good for us, right? So
Yeah.
I can hear it right now. But the reality of it is the disconnect. I just believe is two different type of games. And to your point, Tony, they haven't mentally moved on. And while they're on a desk, now they can sit back and analyze. Because now it's up to the public to decipher and discern, or is this criticism, or are you just analyzing the player in the game? And if you can't figure that out, and if you're not thick skinned or tough skins or whatever you want to call it, then that's on you. And that's the posture that Barkley and Shaq is taking towards the new generation of players.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you made a good point. It's all about a different kind of tired. I mean, this when Barkley and Shaq play was a half court game. These guys are running coast to coast all day. If Barkley and Shaq had to run coast to coast for 38 minutes, forget about it. They would need an oxygen mask. Yeah. It just wouldn't work. So yes, it's a different kind. But here, let me ask you this, and now I'll go right to you because one of the comments that he brought up, the Durant thing, you're right, was really weird. But when Shaq talks about Donovan Mitchell, says he's not ready to be the best player on a championship team. I don't understand that because if I look at that Utah team and I look at guys like Rudy Gobert and I look at Mike Conley and I say, he is being one of the best players, if not the best player of that team. He's bringing them all together. Right. Joe Ingles, they have a really good squad. So what is his infatuation with killing Donovan Mitchell?
I seen that. I was like, what are you talking about? What made him say, I'm gonna say that at that particular moment? Just like you're saying, Andre, I think it's part of it is their era. And because neither one of them on social media and probably it's not a big man or power forward league right now, I don't think they talk to those guys as much. So, and my point is that the older guys would talk to the older centers and talk to the older power forwards, and then they can relate a little bit better. But who do they have to talk to right now? Barkley is not on any social media, so he doesn't talk to anybody unless they're coming onto the show and they're doing research and he does some college basketball stuff. Shaq is a little bit on social media, but it's not much. He talks to people, but you think he's talking to Donovan Mitchell? You think he's talking to Ingles? You think he's talking to Bradley Beal? You think he's relating to those guys? And that may be that genius Paul Pierce is, but that is a different era as well. And I think they just can't relate to what's going on now. Running gun, ball moving, fast pace, dropping 70 points both teams dropping 70 points at halftime. They're like, what is going on? But that's the basketball this day. Now it's an exaggeration of Brooklyn giving up 116 a game. You ain't supposed to be doing that but then they just don't play defense. But that's what I just think they can't adjust to what's going on. I still, if somebody sat Shaq down right now and said, why did you really say that? I don't even think he would know. Because it just made zero sense why you said that to that young man. Hey, they had just won. They didn't lose and they're on a 7 games losing streak. What are you talking about? They have the best record in the NBA right now. I'm just totally confused why and what made him think that was a good idea to say that at the particular time. Your guess is as good as mine on that.
Yeah,
but that furthers. I'm sorry, Tony.
No, go ahead. No, I was just saying.
That furthers my point about that old school game. Where does Donovan Mitchell play?
Right.
Where does he play?
Yeah, he's a guard.
No, what team does he play for?
Utah. Oh, you're talking about because it's Utah.
See, that furthers my point about the old school game and the new school game. The last time the Utah Jazz was even relevant was with Stockton and Malone.
That's true.
So and then you got Spider come on the scene, and highlight reel in the All-Star game. This guy is doing all kinds of things in the league, putting up crazy points. All right.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, man, now,
He gets on
it just popped in my head. You think he didn't pay his dues? You think he's thinking he's getting too much and he didn't pay his dues enough?
No, I think the spotlight got on him after the All-Star game, and he had that phenomenal season. And then they're looking now he done set the bar, and if they don't feel like he's producing, and he's not in a fancy market, right?
No, definitely not.
So he's not like in the foreground. So when people are like, "Oh, well, what's going on with Donovan Mitchell?" It feels like it gives Shaq and Barkley and all these other guys license to just randomly talk about him as if they're not putting in the work.
Right.
This guy is putting in the work.
Yeah, he tore the bubble up.
Yeah, he's putting in the work.
He definitely putting in the work. I mean, listen, you take his last 2 games away. I mean, you're talking about a guy's consistently giving you 25-plus points per game. I mean, he's playing 33, 34 minutes. He's shooting 56%. I mean, I don't know what else you want from the guy. You know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
I don't get it.
Somebody's got to question Shaq on that. Somebody's got to ask him. Like, you can't let that go to a kid. What is he, 24?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's a young man.
Yeah.
He's a young man. You're talking about. Listen, we all talked about. I mean, we had the stuff with him and Ben, right? We talked. But listen, you got to respect what Donovan Mitchell has done, man. I mean, he's formulated his game, and he's really rised up, man. He really has. I completely respect the hell out of Donovan Mitchell. At first, I was like, Donovan, who wearing that shirt? Like, come on, man, who are you? But now, you know what? I got to give him his props, man. Hats off. Good for Donovan, absolutely. I got a couple of comments. It says, getting back to the Sixers talks, is the only thing that concerns me is we haven't shown that we can win without Embiid. You got to be able to win without your best players. We completely agree. We talked about that. Kev, what's up, Kev? Checking in. Yes, but again, not playing tonight. What the heck? He win the games we need to win, and he's not there. Come on, man up. Listen, it's hard for me not to agree with this.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially Al made a great point. I think it was off air. Was like, wait a minute, how you play against Minnesota and you don't play against Indiana? I mean, you want to compare yourself to the best teams, especially in the Eastern Conference. Yeah. You want to see them go up against Sabonis. You want to see them go Indiana, and this is the game he sits. I mean, come on. I know we took a big fall the other night, and I know, listen, I know it's a more condensed, fast-moving season, and I get all that. Trust me, it's all about the playoffs. I understand, but these are the games. You need to look ahead. If this is a load management game, then that's a problem. He needs to be playing this game if he's not really dinged up. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I heard I think it was Derek Brodner that tweeted that Doc said it's not serious and they just, making sure he's all right. Now, after the fall, I almost assumed that he wasn't going to play in Minnesota.
Right.
So and then he played, and then I'm like, okay, so he must be all right. So we're good for Indiana. So then he doesn't play in Indiana. So I don't get that. I could care less. I mean, you don't want to lose against me in Minnesota because it's Minnesota. But I need a Eastern Conference win or conference wins. You need all of the wins in the forget Minnesota. That's West Coast. We don't care about the West. West wins. We need Eastern Conference wins. So I don't get it. I'm assuming it's got to be maybe it flared up a little bit. Even though he sat out, I think, didn't you see that sit out the whole fourth quarter because we didn't need him in Minnesota?
Yeah, he only played 27 minutes. So.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Come on, man. I'm a little annoyed by that because I wanted to actually come out and I wanted to actually blow Indiana out tonight and make them think like, damn, we can't beat them. And then that's in their mind the rest of the season. That's what I wanted to establish because we're 10-0 with our starting lineup. Everybody's talking about Ben, trades, this. We're 10-0 with our starting lineup right now. We're on fire. I want to keep that going, and I want to get Curry back on track too. And I don't know if you can do that without Embiid.
Vinny says Sixers. Oh, good, Andre.
No, I was just saying, and what we're not talking about is Curry is playing hurt.
Yeah,
Curry's ankle is still not 100%, but obviously it's not. I mean, the ankle is not a back, so I'm not comparing the two. But
Right.
we want, to your point, Al, we want to see Embiid and all the guys healthy, and we want to see them against the best competition in the league. You got to
Absolutely.
beat them. You got to beat the man to beat the man. So to me, I want them against Indiana. I want them against the Lakers. I want them against Brooklyn. I want them against the Celtics.
And that's coming
when
up.
You don't, and when you're back and forth, I think is a slight to if the biggest difference to switch gears a little bit. The biggest difference is that are these decisions being made because there's no fans? Just think about that for a second. There's no fans because people got to pay their money. They want to pay their money to see these marquee matchups. So if you're just making decisions based on the shortened season, COVID situation, and all that, then you might want to let the fans know that too.
Yeah.
If you're the NBA or a local team, because we're getting Embiid's not going to play. We're like, what? So to your point, I wanted him if he's going to sit out against Minnesota. Minnesota is listen. I love my Sixers and I'm glad they won. But to watch how horrible Minnesota played, I even tweeted. I was like, "Yo, this got to be one of the worst things I've ever seen this year."
Yeah, they're brutal.
But I mean, I digress. But at the end of the day, we want to see our players healthy and against the best competition, and we want that across the NBA. Period.
I agree. You make a great point about fans because we know paying attendance, man, money matters, right? So, fans in attendance, who are they paying to see? They're paying to see Joel, right? We know that, which is a great point. And another great point, you guys talk about Minnesota. Yeah, they're so bad, we shouldn't need Joel to play against Minnesota.
No.
Right? So, and these are
That's
the
why
games.
I said I assumed.
Right. And so there are the games where, when you play a bad team like that, you work on, because Vinny's talking about 0-4. You're right. It's inexcusable.
No,
there are the games you work on the 0-4 without Joel.
Right.
Not against Indiana.
Right.
I don't get it. Like, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully, I know they're managing his health. I get all that. Just sometimes... sometimes you gotta think long haul, but you also gotta think, your short term success and seeding as well. Man, here comes Kevin
coming up next Friday too, boys.
Wow, here we go. Would you trade Simmons and Maxey for Beal? Listen. I will say this because we got about 10 minutes left. Because I'm a big wrestling fan, I got to go watch the Royal Rumble. I'm straight up, man. I'm ready. Go Sasha, go Charlotte, Ronda Rousey. I'm in. Women's WWE Royal Rumble. I'm in. Go Goldberg beating Drew McIntyre, whatever that is. Seth Rollins, you name it, right?
Look at that, he's like, who's those people?
Oh, see? But
I know Ronda Rousey. I know. Stop. See, Al waited for us to go live to hit me with that, right? He waited. Listen, I know Ronda Rousey. I know that she got beat when she was supposed to win, and that was a couple years ago. I get it, but it's still Ronda Rousey. And so, other than that, I have no idea what Tony's talking about, and that's okay. And listen, I'll be the first to admit it. But his passion and the way he speaks about all these different names and all that other stuff, Tony, it's great. But I don't care. I don't care. Listen, brother, I love you, but I don't care about none of those guys. I'm talking basketball, NBA, Sixers, and that's it. Philadelphia versus the world. Name one of those people. Are any of those people from Philly?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it's Philadelphia versus the world. And that's what we're talking about. We're bringing the heat on Heat Ratio Sports.
I love it. So wait, real quick. So here is the heat. Okay, let's end on this 5 minutes. I was going to talk, and it's going to kind of segue because I want to talk about the big three in Brooklyn. Okay, Wick getting Harden. There goes Jenna killing us. The ghost. I love it. She's a Boston girl. I got to give it to her. It's all good. But get back. Would you trade Ben Simmons and Maxey for Bradley Beal? Listen, real quick. and I think we could sum this up, whether it's Bradley Beal or it's anybody. I know I can sum this up because I consistently will say this. When you look at a team like Brooklyn, and I understand that they can't play defense worth a lick. I get it. They are a fantasy-driven team. They're a DFS dream, okay? But talking about real NBA, they can't stop anybody. But what I will say is they scare me that they could drop 147 points. Listen, at any given night. And we can't do that as presently constructed. I'm sorry. I firmly believe we cannot do that. So my question to you guys is, because you know where I'm at. Would I trade? Yes. 100%, 110%, 200%. Yes, 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 yes. I would do it yesterday. I would drive Ben Simmons to the airport, whatever I have to do. Maxey, I love the floating raindrop, but I go buy a necklace on my own. All good. Give me Bradley Beal. But let me just say this, and it's only because it's nothing against Ben Simmons. It's because I feel like we're not equipped to be able to battle those big teams offensively. Now, I'm going to spin this a little bit. Andre, I go to you first. Let me ask you something. Mm-hmm. Would you say that we can come up with a plan defensively to overcome an offensive deficient team when we get into the playoffs? What do you think? So in your mind, 100%. Defensively, even with Ben doing what he's doing right now, you think we can lock down another team defensively and we don't have to worry about him scoring 20 or 25 points and having a big three?
Yeah, because that's what this team is constructed to do. All right, that's why, to your point, you can't see 147 points because that's not what we're built to do. We're built to play defense. We're also transition defense and getting stops. Doc has been talking about that before the first game, before preseason. So transition defense and getting stops. Now, we have slid a little bit. We slid a little bit from 3 for 3, meaning if we shot a 3 and we made it, we somehow the other team goes down and they hit a 3. And we're like, well, what was that for? So we go back and we have to make those stops.
I noticed that.
So the Sixers are very, very, very efficient, and they're successful when they have 3 to 4 stops in a row. Now, that's hard for any NBA team. So, but the Sixers are in the top 5 of getting multiple stops per possession. So to me, yes, I don't care if they had everybody, the team, because the team that you're probably referring to is Brooklyn. Brooklyn is an offensive juggernaut, right? But I think between the rotation, I think between getting one of the big 3 out on the perimeter, we win the battle inside. Now, on the flip side, we have the size and we have the rotation. Now, we still need the stretch 4. I get it. We still need an effective stretch 4. But this team is built to stop an offensive juggernaut. That's and listen, we haven't played Brooklyn yet. That game's coming up. But I'm gonna tell you this: it's a major test, and that's probably one of the reasons why we're not playing Indiana. While we're not having Embiid play against Indiana. But they're not going to tell us if it is or not. But the reality of is the Brooklyn game is coming up pretty fast.
That's true. That's true. Now, Al, I'm going to put you on the spot here. I got a really good question. I was thinking about this as Andre was talking. He brought up some really good points, so it started to make me think, because I knew he was going to say yes. So let me ask you the question this way. Let's take Joel off the table. We already know Joel is here. He's our big guy. He's here to stay. Let's purposely look at Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. Are we a better team with Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons? Or let's just look at Utah and say Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley. So, in that format, you're keeping Ben Simmons. I mean, you're keeping Joel Embiid. He's your big guy. You're just taking the 2 and the 3 out, and you're bringing the other 2 and the 3 here. Okay, are we a better team to go up against a team like Brooklyn? And I get it. I know we're going to talk about defense because of Ben, but just offensively, if you could swing them around, would you do it, or would you put all your faith in Tobias and Ben? It's a tough question.
I think I would stay pat. Mike is getting up there.
He is.
And Tobias, God forbid I say, can we trust him now? I think we can. So if we can, and I'm trying to remember, He maybe had one game the whole season that he's been under 20 points. So we can count on him. So if we can count on him, and then Ben can do, I don't need him to do, everyone, I want him to score 20, I want him to score 30. We don't need him to score 20 and 30. I just need him to score over 17 a game and keep doing what he's doing on the defensive end, and they keep doing what he's doing with the assists. I want the assists a little bit higher, but it's pretty close, and keep the turnovers down. Now, against the Lakers, he had 1 turnover and 11 assists, 17 points, 10 rebounds. Perfect game he played there. Perfect game. So I hear people saying, "Oh, he didn't stop LeBron." Who's stopping LeBron? What are you talking about? You know, like you said, Andre, you just hope to contain him. You don't hope to stop LeBron. Nobody can stop LeBron. So you just slow him down a little bit, make him have a little bit difficult shot as anybody else. You just shoot over top of him or go right through him. So the things that he brings, if I just need him to score a little bit more consistently, and we will be fine.
Yeah, see,
I have no problem with this team being the way it is right now. None. Zero.
See, Al, you got to be careful because Tony's question was loaded.
Yeah.
100% loaded. You got to be, yeah, because here's the thing. Tony's question was loaded without that element of being a killer. That's why he said Connolly and Mitchell, because he's talking offense. He gave me the defensive question, right? So he's like, listen, if you can get somebody that has that killer in them, that dog in them a little bit with Embiid, right?
Right.
So the thing that we're looking for in Ben and Tobias. Now, Tobias, that killer and that dog is coming out slowly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tobias, so we starting to see it and we're starting to like it. Now, Ben is a little slower to the party because you see that dog if the lane's wide open, his eyes light up. Yeah. But if the lane's not open, then he's not dunking the ball with the 2 hands, or he's not going in with the flex after he bangs the.
Yeah.
We want to. Yeah, but we want to see on offense. We want to see that dog. We want to see that killer every possession. Mm-hmm. Not when it's sporadic throughout the game because it gets forgot about. Forgot about. Russ. Right. We know Russ is on 1 million from the time the ball is tipped to the time he goes home, right? So, but he's not winning, and we don't want that either. No. We want a nice, delicate balance. We want a balance with his skill set with a little more fight, a little more dog in him.
Gosh, can you just take a visual? Close your eyes and take a visual of Russell Westbrook inside of Ben. Oh my goodness!
Well, you talk about that dog mentality.
Yes, the dog mentality. Oh my goodness!
You're talking LeBron.
Absolute monster. And forget about the jump shot because it wouldn't matter because the way Westbrook goes to the hoop, he doesn't care who you are trying to defend him. But
he'll dunk on an 8-footer if he could.
Huh?
He'll dunk on an 8-footer if he could.
Yeah, 100%, and have no issue with it. And if he missed it, and he would come or get it blocked, he would come back again and do the same thing. Yeah. I'll give him that, dude. He has that dog. I can't stand him as a player. He's selfish and he worried about himself, but that dog is never coming out. I don't care how old he is.
Yeah, he all about numbers. We know that. Well, one thing's for sure, we got a nice stretch coming up. We got a softy game against Charlotte, in my opinion.
Wow.
And then, you're right.
I don't know about soft. Have you watched them the last couple of nights? They beat a nice couple of teams the last couple of nights. They
did, but listen, if Ben's playing, Embiid versus Cody Zeller, I mean, come on, I'll take that to Vegas every day.
They just beat Milwaukee the other night.
Yeah, they did. LaMelo going off.
But you saw what happened when they came up against that buzzsaw called Embiid and Simmons when they played us the first game.
True.
Yeah, I know.
They're not ready for. See, that's the thing with Charlotte. Charlotte's not ready for a top 5 team.
No.
They'll randomly beat some of the good teams off sheer being young. But they're not beating the Sixers or the Lakers. Or come on, we're talking Charlotte.
That's true. I'll tell you what. Jordan MJ was probably smiling when he seen Kemba miss that game-winning shot the other night too for Boston. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know he was.
I know a little animosity between those two. But listen, next week we got the 6th, man. Brooklyn. That's the game. And circle on the calendar. We go Charlotte, Portland, Brooklyn on February 6th. So that's going to be measuring stick game. That's going to be a measuring stick game, right? We're going to have to see where we're at. So it's going to be great, man. And then we'll go live on the 7th, and we'll be able to rehash the whole week and see how hopefully Embiid is back, and I hope Harden is back for that game, even though he had a contusion. I think Harden's going to be okay.
Yeah, I seen something about he wasn't playing tonight for some reason. I was like,
he had
really?
A thigh contusion. That's a black and blue mark.
All you got to do is just look at who they're playing tonight, and then you say why he has a thigh contusion.
Yeah, exactly.
But we can't look. Brooklyn's going to be a tough game. We all know that.
Oh, yeah.
But we can't look past. They played Dame time right before.
Right, that's what I was saying.
See what Dame did last night? Did you see the highlights?
I love it, man. I love it.
I can see him in the Sixers uniform.
Oh man. That's it. That's when we start talking about multiple rings right there.
Oh,
you throw Dame on this team, my lord.
Logo Dame time, Dame for 3 from Broad Nowney. I mean, come on, this guy. And did you see when he hit the shot?
It was like it was nothing.
The defender was like, I knew it. I shouldn't. Why didn't I? I mean, come on, I knew it. I would have been better out trying to foul the guy.
Yeah. No, well, he would have made all free throws.
Yeah, at least you had a chance, though. My lord.
Yeah. Just buried it, and then just put up his hands like I knew how that was going in. Like it was nothing to him. Yeah. He had just made a 3 like the 10 seconds before that.
Yeah, when he gets locked in, man, there's nobody better, honestly. When he gets locked in, that Dame time is for real. He got his own hashtag for a reason.
Yeah, that's
honestly 100%. But listen, for everybody checking in, we want to we stick this out. It's a good conversation. Everybody in, we appreciate it. Over 100 comments. Listen, try to get to them all, but we do put them up on the screen. I might not read them all, but we are basing the show involved around that. So we appreciate all the interaction at Heat Ratio Sports. If you followed us on YouTube, please give us a subscription. Follow us on Twitter. Hit the Twitter. Hit us on Facebook. Hit us on Instagram. 6-7 days a week content at Heat Ratio Sports, building something nice here. We appreciate all the support, and like I say, as always, for myself, for Al, for Andre, thanks again for tuning in. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next Sunday.